Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is another Honda side-by-side accessory they offer, or excuse me, HondaSideBySide.com accessory. This is the reverse sub-transmission harness that can be used to essentially set up a backup light whenever you put your machine in reverse. Our quick overview is put the machine in reverse. This set of plugs here plugs directly into the factory harness, and it will supply power to whatever accessory you choose to include. What I'm going to do is probably set up a light bar on the rear, and you're going to notice there are two leads coming off of this accessory. So this 2-lead one, this is called the Pigtail version. This does not come on every single accessory harness that's sold. This is an option that you have to opt for. But this lead does come on all of them. In this lead right here, you have to tie in to some sort of 12 volt power. I'm going to use a key-on power source. That way it's not leeching power somehow. And I want to show you quickly where this plugs in. This is really the only hard part of this install, is actually getting your hands to the location where the plug goes in. Let me grab my light so you can see it. Like I said, it's on the sub-transmission. And we'll see if we can get you in here close enough where you can see what we're looking at. So, yep, you'll be able to see it right there. So what this is actually going to plug into is that plug right there. So right here is what it's going to go into. And you can probably reach in here from the side to get to it, but it'll be kind of a pain. So I'll show you an alternate location where you can access it. I just don't know how well it's going to be able to be reached until I actually do it. But it's going to be underneath the driver's seat. And you're going to have this little kind of rubberized grommet right here. And you will notice, can you see it on the camera? Yep, you can. So where my pinky is that plug. All right, I managed to get the plug loose, and I'll show you what I did. You can see I've got the center console loose. Just pop that over. I took these pins out all along there. Then you'll also see the hole down there where I took one out, as well as another one, or a couple back there. The reason I did that is it allowed me to kind of push this in a little bit out of the way and create some more room for my hand, where I can reach back in here to the plug, which I kind of have. Well, you can see it in there, but I've got it undone, and I'm going to go ahead and connect the new one, and then I'll show you where to run, or where I'm going to run the accessory on power. I've got both ends plugged in. It is a pain in the butt to do, so just know that going forward, but it can be done, and I've got some pretty big arms and hands and was still able to get in there to it. The key is just to get your hand back in this gap and get it situated where you can turn well enough to plug everything in and push it together. Just make sure you get that audible click. And then they do include some dielectric grease in just like a little single-use packet, so that's nice too. So I use that on there, and then I've got the 2 leads coming out. Again, this is where I'm going to go pick up the key-on accessory power, and then this is going to be the positive and negative lead for the light. There is no like rocker switch or anything involved in this. Excuse me, the switch is the transmission. So it's designed to always come on whenever the vehicle is in reverse. So that is in turn what's going to trigger the ground for the backup light. And yes, that's correct. So the ground is technically what's being triggered off of this plug. Then the single lead right here where you're going and tying in to the key on power is what's providing your positive power source. So whenever the key's on, whatever accessory you're using is going to have power. Then whenever you put the machine in reverse, this plug is going to close the circuit on your ground, and that's what's going to cause the light or whatever accessory you use to come on. Okay, so running the single hot lead to pick up power. Try to make it as neat as possible. Let me situate the light so I can show you what I did. This single wire right here that my fingers run along is what that is, and I ran it behind the frame. Let's see if I can get you where you can see it. There's a frame cross member right here, I made sure to run it behind it to keep it off of the sub-transmission, and then behind this coolant hose, and then I got it bundled. Get the light fixed. Got it bundled up there with the rest of that wire loom. So that's basically all of my accessories that I ran through, and then also some of that's factory wiring. But I've tried to keep everything right there so it's away from the engine as well as the transmission to keep heat off of it as best as possible. Then where it's coming up, where we'll be able to see it up here, is directly through where the fuse box wiring comes through. So this big bundle here, this is that lead, and I think it's going to tie into the black and white wire. I've got to verify to make sure which wire it actually is, but we're going to pick up power right there. So we were looking at the white and black wire. Basically what that's going to be is this 10 amp accessory 1 circuit. So that's just going to be key on accessory power, and this is from the service manual. So if we come over here and we look at what these fuses are, we're going to see this 10 amp accessory, and you'll see that is a white and black wire, which is what we want. So we're going to go ahead and use a T-tap to get into that circuit, and that's where we're going to pick up our power. So the way I'm choosing to do this is I'm going to use what's called a T-tap, and it's kind of like a Scotch lock, but not 100% the same. Basically what you do is you put the wire in this channel over here, then you close this on top of it, and the metal right there is what will cut the insulating jacket on the wire and allow it to conduct. And then you'll see over here there is this pronged area, and when this is closed you can put a male spade terminal through that, which are included with these. So this is going to go on the end of that red lead wire, and once it's closed it'll just plug directly into this, which it makes, when the wires come together, it makes a T shape, which is why it's called a T-tap. Okay, so I've got the, let me get a little bit of light here. I've got the T-tap connection made, and you can see I used the blue part on that, and then crimped on the male spade to the lead that was included on the harness from HondaSideBySide.com, and then I just plugged it in. When you do plug it in, visually inspect it to make sure that the spade is actually going into the blue plastic piece. These things can tend to go on either side, so just make sure that you can't see the metal spade connector and that it's actually going into the plastic piece and making a good contact. So I'm going to verify that I have voltage now over there with the key on my lead to run to the accessory, and when I turn the key on, as long as I get 12 volts, I know we're good to go. Okay, so I don't think I said it, but I need the key on and the vehicle in reverse because this is a reverse trigger. I think I forgot to say that part. But what I'm doing is just putting a multimeter, or my multimeter leads, onto the harness like this. If I shift it into reverse, oops, my lead came off. There is our 12 volts. So again, we got 12 volts in reverse. If I take it out of reverse, we do not have a reading. So we are good to go. The ground trigger is working, and I'm going to run the power lead to the back for a little light bar that I've got specifically for this. Okay, so I'm extending my the lead that came with it. This is the plug. It's going to run to the light bar. And what I've done is used a couple waterproof butt connectors and heat shrunk those, and then just ran some additional link together and taped it. And then I'm about to use this wire mesh just to dress it up a little bit. I went ahead and made it a little bit long, just anticipating where it's going, and then I'm going to cut it back. But this is just the way I'm doing it, just showing you a suggestion here. So I'm going to mesh this up, and then I'll show you how I run it back to the light bar to the rig. Guys, here is what we're going to be working with. This is just a little 7-inch slim single row Nightlight night bar, cheap off Amazon. I think I got 2 of them for like 20 or 25 bucks. But it's going to sit just like that. Looks like I need to scoot it over to the right just a shade, but I'll do that in a second. And we got everything wired in and zip tied now. And then I'll show you kind of where I ran everything along the frame. So that's the wiring there, back up. Got it zip tied nicely running along, and then that connector, the white connector, is where everything is meeting up. And then you saw where everything's running into the cab. So let's check and make sure it works. So the key does have to be on. This is with it off. So we're in reverse. You can see we have no light. We turn the key on, and no light. So when we shift into reverse, this is going to act as our switch. You can see we've got light on the truck. We do have light. Back out of reverse, no light. So that is the overview to getting a reverse light wired into your Talon. I hope this video helped. If this product interests you, check out Honda Side-by-Side Club.com. Go to their store. They've got this on here. There will be a link directly below. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out. Like this video, share it. If you have any questions, drop a comment below or shoot me a message, and I would be happy to answer them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future content. So guys, here's a quick demo of the light output that I'm getting with this little 7-inch light bar right now that's not on. There it is on. So it puts out a pretty good amount of light, and like I said, it's automatic, so it'll be nice when you're night riding. You don't have to worry about flipping a light on. So I'll take a couple pictures, that way I'll have those as well. And thanks again.